What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and we're about to do our first review. We did the Oscars, now let's review a movie. We're talking about I'm Still Here, directed by Walter Salles, based on a screenplay from a memoir of the same name. The film essentially takes place in the early 1970s. It follows the character of Eunice Paiva, played by the incredible Fernanda Torres. The film is essentially about her coping with the forced disappearance of her husband, set in the military dictatorship of Brazil. I was very excited to check out this movie because of obviously the surprise Best Picture nomination. I know Brazil has been riding hard for this movie. It is a Brazilian film. And just when it's surprised in the category, it's the only movie that I haven't seen that was nominated for Best Picture, so I got on that quick. It's a very intentionally paced movie. It really takes its time, about 30 minutes at the beginning, to really acclimate you with this family, and I would be lying to you if I said I didn't absolutely fall in love with this family. The tender, warm nature, the innocent first, let's say, half hour of this film that shows this family with their father operating on incredible levels. There's so much love, there's so much warmth, there's so much chemistry between all the actors, and it's this really, really lovely depiction of this family. I think this was a really necessary way to begin the movie because the rest of the movie really operates with everything that is unsaid, unspoken. It is a very subtle movie, very quiet movie, and the performances really begin to live and breathe with everything that they're holding back, especially Fernanda Torres, who is a force in this movie, but we'll get to her later. There is so much communicated in this movie non-verbally. There are so many things in this movie that are alluded to, and it's this sort of slow burn that doesn't really have a massive crescendo. However, it's everything you're feeling and watching these characters battle with that make this such an incredibly effective experience. I also appreciated how educational this movie was for me personally. The overthrowing of the Brazilian government, the presidency in the late 60s, and everything that occurred in the 70s, and the movement that this sparked that then lasted decades is not something I was that familiar with. So while I was really engaged with the story of everything that was going on here, the historical context it gave me I thought was really important as well. And there are aspects of it that feel really scarily timely to many different things that are happening today, which I also found just added to this overall experience. And I just need to talk about Fernanda Torres now. I keep feeling like I'm waiting, but let's just talk about Fernanda Torres. What a towering performance. I'm so glad I haven't posted my favorite performances of the year yet, because she will definitely be on that. She is deserving of every ounce of that Academy Award nomination. The Golden Globe win, I understand it now. It's also incredible that she is also the second Brazilian nominated for the Academy Award, her mother being the first. And I won't spoil something, but this movie honors that incredibly well at the end. That really moved me emotionally. I know Brazil really went out for this movie. I know this movie really surged during the voting window, and rightfully so. I think what Fernanda Torres is bringing into this movie is she is truly holding back the weight of the world in this film, and you see it, you feel it, and it just allows for this incredibly vulnerable, incredibly human performance that I think really resonates and is going to resonate with people. I'm going to be honest with you. Right now, I'm riding for Demi Moore to win the Oscar. However, I actually can see a world where Torres wins, and I think it would be a pretty damn good win. I also want to talk about several other members of the cast. First, Selton Mello, I hope I'm saying that right, who plays Rubens Paiva, Eunice's husband, the congressman who is kidnapped and forcibly disappeared. His performance in the first 20-30 minutes of this movie set the tone and really show you what this patriarch meant to this family, and then the loss of him throughout the rest of this film is so palpable. It's so strong. The family as well, several younger child actors in here who are fantastic. The way they are able to hold their own with Torres and Mello, and the way they're able to operate with each other. The performances also feel super organic. They feel their ages. They have some older daughters, right, teens to 20s, and some younger, probably like 8, 9, 10, and they all feel super authentic to their age, and they all have this incredibly a big family. There's 6 or 7 of them. They have this really, really, I think, natural chemistry that really feels like a large family that you would see today. The movie is really well scored. There's this subtle music throughout that really adds to the experience. There's sort of a change that happens as the movie gets a lot more tense and a lot more uncomfortable. I also think the cinematography as well. There's a character filming throughout the movie, so there's these little montage moments, compilations, if you will, of certain events happening, captured through an old video camera in the 1970s. And I think it just added some extra style to this movie in a really amazing way. Maybe some people who struggle with the intentional pacing of the movie, I do think this is a movie that will benefit rewatches. I think the first time around, you might be waiting for these big explosive things to happen, and they don't. But by the time the movie wraps up, you're understanding that it was in those moments of silence, in the moments of uncertainty, and in the moments you're just sitting with the characters, that the full experience of this movie hits you. There's a scene in an ice cream shop that it did bring me to tears. And when you see the movie, you'll know the scene I'm talking about, where you can feel Fernanda Torres holding back the weight of the universe, let's say, and then you could see one of her daughters noticing it and acknowledging it and not saying anything. But in this moment, a friend of mine was talking to me about this. It's like seeing your parent as a human for the first time and not a parent, and realizing something isn't okay. I just thought it was so stirring. If you could get past the pacing and if you could really embrace what's going on, it's going to be an incredibly rewarding experience. I actually really hope this movie wins Best International Feature. I mean, all things considered, I think it has a way better shot than it did before, but this would be my pick for Best International Feature. This movie is incredibly important. I think it deserves a watch. I think the performances are incredible, and I think the movie as a whole is going to invoke the right things at this moment in time. I'm giving this a very, very strong 8.5 out of 10. But I would love to know your thoughts. If you've seen I'm Still Here, please let me know in the comments what you think about it, and I'll see you in the next review.